Hello, and welcome to About Absorption, how to stop wasting money on healthy food that you know damn well ain't cheap because your lifestyle is screwing up your body's ability to absorb and use what you feed it. My name is Tiffany Ann Smith, and I will be your guide through this journey into all things absorption. I have lots of certifications. I've been around for quite a while. I am a certified holistic health coach by the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. That's where I got my start into nutrition. I'm a certified sleep science coach and a certified yoga teacher, although I decided that I much prefer to practice yoga than teach yoga, so I don't do that anymore. What I am most proud of is I have been studying clinical dietetics and nutrition for the last 2.5 years. Right now it's 2018, so next year I will graduate and take my board exam to become a registered dietitian nutritionist, licensed dietitian nutritionist. My big goal is to earn a master's degree in family science, which is something like family counseling, but a little more modern and updated. It's more of a coaching model than a counseling model. And I want to enrich the lives of families and individuals facing a diagnosis through thoughtful diet and lifestyle choices. So I want to work with parents and kids who want to support each other through the process of lifestyle changes. I'm also the creator of The Art of Personal Science. That one is deeply personal to me because when I began to create The Art of Personal Science, I was starting from the bottom of the bottom. I was very sick and I was dead broke, so whatever solutions I was going to find for myself, they had to be dead simple, damn near free, and offer me the grace and patience of Mother Teresa herself because I was starting from a dead stop. But what I've learned over the years has ended up changing my whole life. I'm not a different person per se, I'm just more of who I was always created to be, without all the bullshit that I had taken on over the years and was carrying with me. I was able to let all of that go. So I'm uniquely qualified to bring stuck in a rut women who are overwhelmed by all of the things that you can do, all of the things that there is to do, all of the things that you should do to improve your health. I help those women go from daydreaming about what you would do if you had more energy to actually glowing from the inside out. And you know that glow I'm talking about. You see it when a woman walks in the room and she has it. And loving life in your own skin. I like to call myself the world's worst nutritionist because I think that while important, food is actually not the most important thing in a healthy lifestyle, especially if you're starting from scratch like I was. The Art of Personal Science is my solution, my method to manage the most difficult challenges of living healthy with a few clever skills that make the most high-impact habits naturally strengthen over time. But before I get into all of that, let's play a little game. 3 truths and a lie. So you guess which one of these is the lie. 1, I love cheesy foreign language romantic shows on Netflix. 2, I've jumped out of a perfectly good airplane at 18,000 feet. 3, I grew up in Augusta, Georgia. Or 4, I love Jesus and I curse sometimes. And the answer is number 3 is a lie. I used to say that I was from Augusta, Georgia if I was just too lazy to get into the real answer. But honestly, I did spend a lot of years in Augusta, Georgia, but I grew up the daughter of 2 Air Force non-commissioned officers, and I traveled all over the world as a kid. So I like to say that I'm from everywhere and nowhere. With all of that said, oh, this was my husband, by the way. Isn't he so handsome? That's us in Colorado for my brother's wedding a few years ago. So with all of that said about me, let's get into About Absorption. There are several reasons why what you eat is step number 6 and not number 1. First and foremost, if your body can't use the fresh, healthy food that you give it, you're wasting precious resources that you can be dedicating elsewhere for you and your family. Your time and your money is precious. You have a lot to do. Wasting your time and money is not going to help anybody. It's important that you understand a little bit about how your body digests and absorbs that fresh, healthy food, because the way that your body breaks down, takes in, and puts to work the raw energy of the food that you eat is complicated, fragile, and ancient. The human metabolism is thousands of steps of reactions. Millions of chemical reactions are happening in your body every second, and they all depend on the raw energy of the food that you eat. It's not hard to understand how fragile that system is. If one reaction goes off, a chain reaction happens that sets everything else off. It's important to see that your metabolism and the way that your body uses food as a holistic system. Your body is smart. It has evolved to be an efficient biological system. And when you understand the way your everyday choices affect your nutritional status, it will change the way that you take care of yourself. Interestingly, technically, the food that you eat is an external medium until those tiny particles cross through a layer of mucus and into the intestinal cell. Biologically, you are one big tube from your mouth to your anus. All of the food in that tube is still technically outside of the system. It's not inside the system until it is absorbed. And when absorption isn't efficient, then you lose valuable nutrients through excrement when you go to the bathroom. To put this another way, making sure the parts of your car work well is way more important than what type of gas that you use. Everything, the way you think, sight, smell, taste, texture, how your food feels in your mouth, primes your body and gets everything ready to absorb and use the nutrients. Eating is an experience, and the way that your body digests and absorbs that food is complicated, remember, and all of these things contribute to the whole. There's a reason why juice fasts are always recommended to be very short, because when you're taking in all of your vitamins and minerals in a liquid form, you're not feeling the texture of your food. You're not smelling the food on your plate. I don't know about you, but I've had some juices that are brown. It doesn't look good. And when you take in the liquids, your esophagus doesn't have to use peristalsis. It doesn't have to push that down. Your stomach doesn't have to churn and move to break it down. That's the same reason why there will never be a pill that you can take that will give you all of the nutrients that you need to be healthy, because you can't bypass a part of the system. Every part of a biological system affects the system as a whole, and all of those things are important. The first step is chewing, but begin to crush the big pieces and soak them in saliva. This is ripping the meat into small pieces or breaking the tough cellulose of fruits and vegetables down. From there, it goes into your esophagus, where muscles contract in a wave-like motion to push that food down. And then it gets into your stomach and it churns every kind of way and it soaks it in more enzymes. And then it gets into your intestines where absorption is regulated by the intestinal cells' sponginess, the space between the cells that lets nutrients in. Those are called tight junctions, the space between the cells. And they require some level of flexibility so they can absorb a significant portion of glucose, carbohydrates. That's their sponginess, the space between the tight junctions of your intestinal cells, how permeable they are, how much can get through them. And then transporters and receptors attach to nutrients and carry them to the tissues. The amazing thing is when there's a significant increase in nutrients. Let's say you eat some ice cream and you flood your system with an excess of sugar, glucose. Your intestines will send more transporters to latch onto that extra glucose and then carry it into the body. It's amazing. And then there are dozens of hormones and enzymes: cholecystokinin, gastrin, secretin, peptidases, lipases, amylases. Those all increase and decrease just like the transporters as you need them. This is how your body is complicated and evolves to accommodate your diet. There are millions of bacteria in your gut, and they are very important. They help manufacture B12, vitamin K, vitamin B6, B5, B3, folate, biotin. They enhance the absorption of minerals. They fight off pathogens, bad bacteria that can make you sick. They digest food, they metabolize drugs, and they even influence your metabolism, how efficiently your body does the job of absorbing and using the nutrients from your diet. So digestion and absorption very much go together, but they are two distinct processes. Absorption does begin in your mind in the cephalic phase, in the head phase. So where your head's at does affect absorption. And if you are stressed, the absorption of nutrients drops 80%. In 1987, two researchers in Britain decided to see what would happen to human nutrient absorption when two people were talking to them at the same time. A subject drank a glass of salt water. As they were listening to audiobooks in a pair of headphones, those audiobooks would keep changing, so it created a lot of stress. And then small samples were taken from their intestines at different points in their intestines to see how absorption was affected. It dropped to the floor. You can imagine what that means when you're watching television or working. When you are distracted, your body registers that as stress, and its ability to absorb nutrients drops. Research also shows that just being mindful of your meal experience improves your food choices, your weight loss, and your blood sugar after meals. Just relaxing and enjoying the experience of your meal improves the food choices that you make, how your body uses that food, and how the system biologically responds to that food. According to a publication called Today's Dietitian, mindful eating is being aware of the process of food preparation and feeding yourself, choosing enjoyable and nutritious foods, acknowledging food preferences without judgment, recognizing and honoring physical hunger and satisfaction cues, and using wisdom to guide your eating decisions. After the food leaves your head and travels down the esophagus, before it reaches your stomach, this is called the transit phase. And I like to think of this as when the food goes past the heart. So your emotions can affect your absorption. When you sense danger, your sympathetic nervous system gets ready to either stay and fight or run away. It's called the fight or flight response. In preparation for that response, it moves the blood away from your digestive system and sends it to your lungs and muscles. It's making a judgment call that you don't need to digest food right now. Your priority is either fighting or running. And in order to do that very well so you can survive, you need that energy and that blood flow to be so you can take big breaths and move quickly. Your brain uses the information it gets from your senses, from the world around you, to make decisions about what you need to do to survive based on your understanding of that information. Research shows that an internal awareness and an ability to tolerate uncomfortable internal emotional reactions are effective for weight loss. If you can become aware of how your understanding of the world around you is affecting your sympathetic nervous system, and you can learn to be comfortable with being a little uncomfortable, your sympathetic nervous system will relax. And all of that blood will go into those rest and digest functions. It will digest food and it will absorb those nutrients very efficiently because your body is an efficient biological machine. And to really prep the food for the intestinal phase. Your intestinal phase is regulated by a couple of things. You can call your intestines the GI tract, gastrointestinal. In the GI tract, the enteric nervous system makes up the second brain of your body, and it can function independently of the central nervous system. That's your brain and all of your nerves. The enteric nervous system, the second brain in your gut, controls blood circulation in the gut, the movement of food through it, hormones and enzymes, and helps regulate immunity and inflammation. So the enteric nervous system is connected to the brain, but it also makes its own decisions based on many factors. Think about that for a second. So your gastrointestinal tract is an independent system of all other systems. It has its own communication network that operates independently of your brain that controls the communication network for all other systems. That is amazing. In the gut, your large intestine, there are 3 to 4 pounds of bacteria, so much that they make up a forgotten essential organ and help to provide nourishment and regulate intestinal cell functions, and they have roles in fat storage and immunity. There are more nerve cells in your bowel than there are in your spine. There are approximately 10 times more bacteria in your gut than the human cells in your body. And 70% of all your immune cells live in or around the gut. So your immune system is very much regulated by the health of your gut. And the health of your gut is very much regulated by the health of those bacteria. Both the enteric nervous system and the microbiota, that's the bacteria in your gut, are affected by your diet, if you're deficient in any nutrients, if you have any digestive problems, obesity, inflammation, prescription medications, any supplements you might take, how well you sleep, if you're stressed out, if you drink too much alcohol, too much caffeine, if you don't exercise, your age, your gender, where you are in the world, your hygiene habits, whether you were birthed vaginally or via C-section, whether you were breastfed or bottle fed, it's fragile and complicated. Sleep affects absorption. Insulin is the body's most important building hormone. The term is anabolic. Insulin is the body's most anabolic hormone. It regulates the absorption of carbohydrates, protein, and fat into your red blood cells, your heart, your muscles, and your fat tissue. Typically, insulin is increased when you eat carbohydrates and sometimes protein. And when it is elevated, it opens up all of those cells so all of the other nutrients behind it can be absorbed. When your cells no longer respond to insulin, so they don't open up and they don't take in those nutrients, then all of those nutrients stay in the blood instead of going into the tissues where they're needed. And the effect of that is the development of highly preventable chronic diseases such as diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Research shows just 2 nights of poor sleep reduces insulin sensitivity by 25%, and it shifts the body toward the sympathetic nervous system. It shifts your body into that fight or flight response. So it moves the blood and energy away from your digestive system, even further reducing your ability to absorb nutrients. Imagine a chronic lack of sleep. People who get less than 6 hours of sleep consistently have significantly higher risk of stroke, cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and overall all chronic diseases than those who get 7 to 8 hours consistently. Exercise affects absorption. Movement improves circulation and speeds up digestion. When you move, your blood flows faster. Research shows that after just 6 weeks of exercise, people showed an increase in beneficial gut bacteria that reduced the risk of all inflammatory diseases. Those 5 to 6 pounds of bacteria in your gut, you have many different species of bacteria there. Some of them are really good for you, some of them are not good for you. They're harmful, they're pathogenic. Exercise increases the good bacteria, and more good bacteria reduces your risk of inflammatory diseases. Because remember, those bacteria serve lots of purposes. They do lots of things. And when they're in good shape, your body is less inflamed and therefore at less risk of all inflammatory diseases. Furthermore, there is a lot of science that says that low-level systemic, what they call subclinical inflammation, that small fire that's always burning in your body, is the root of all disease. Research also shows after just one exercise session, people showed an increase of insulin receptors in skeletal muscle and improved insulin sensitivity. After just one exercise session, your red blood cells, liver, skeletal muscles took in more nutrients from the blood. Vitamin D affects absorption. Vitamin D reduces disease-causing bacteria in the gut. When you reduce the disease-causing harmful bacteria in the gut, you shift the ratio toward that healthy, beneficial bacteria. And when that happens, your rate of inflammation drops and reduces your risk of all inflammatory diseases, which some would argue are all diseases. It also increases the diversity of your gut microbiome. The good bacteria multiply and create a diverse, rich, healthy, life-giving biome. It has a positive influence on gastrointestinal diseases such as inflammatory bowel disease or bacterial infections. Gastrointestinal disease is one of the top things that affects your absorption. If your bowels are sick, they're not taking in food. How to improve any healthy diet. Step 1, understand the process and the factors of healthy nutrient absorption. Congratulations, you have just done that. Check that off your list. Boom. Great job. Step 2, create a mindset of personal growth. That's a mindset that understands the big goal. Step 3, get great sleep. Sleep that calms the body and regulates your insulin response. Let go of and prevent stress so healthy blood can flow into your digestive system and give it all the energy and power it needs to do the best job it can. Step 5, plan movement. Get your exercise in so you can increase blood flow and regulate your insulin response. Get sunlight on bare skin. Vitamin D is critical to between 5 and 10% of all chemical reactions in your body. The implications of getting sunlight on your bare skin go far beyond absorption. But as we've seen, the effect it has on bacteria in your gut and how important that bacteria is, getting enough vitamin D is crucial to optimal absorption. And then step 7, create healthy eating and feeding patterns for you and your family. And that's all the nutrition advice that I give you over on my blog, Step 6. Unfortunately, Step 7 doesn't have as good a ring to it, so that's a little secret just between you and I. Everything between understanding absorption and creating those healthy eating and feeding patterns for you and your family, those are the lifestyle habits that are going to make or break how your body uses the food that you put into it. And unless you're making good choices consistently in these areas, you are wasting your time and money focusing on diet. Diet is not the place to begin. Absorption is the place to begin. Good nutrition begins with good absorption. We have come to the end of this magical journey into all things about absorption. And I know that sounds so Disney, and like all things Disney, this ending is happy ever after. Remember when I said that I would be sharing with you the art of personal science? Well, now is the time. There are tons of things that I really love about the art of personal science, and here's a few of them. In the art of personal science, learn the skills that simplify and demystify new habits so that they naturally build momentum and strengthen over time. That means that once you set the right foundation, you almost don't have to do anything to get better and better and better. They are created in such a way so that they grow and expand organically. You also do those in the most effective order so that each habit builds off the last and makes it 100 times easier. That's my favorite thing. I put so much thought into that. It's what I'm most proud of in the art of personal science. The habits that you build improve your metabolism and cool inflammation so that you can stop wasting money on fresh food that your body can't effectively use. That's what we've been talking about this whole presentation. You enjoy more energy so that you can shatter glass ceilings and tear down any walls that stand between you and your dreams. Let me tell you something. I was a broke down, sick cokehead. And as I began to heal my body and see things more clearly and have more energy to work towards the things that I cared about, I went to school. I got a 4.0 GPA. I was nominated for awards. I was granted scholarships and grants by my school. I kicked ass. I would have never been able to do that if I didn't take 100% responsibility for my health and experience what it felt like to restore my body to its natural state and realize all of the energy that comes with that. You'll release unhealthy fat forever and get a gorgeous feminine glow so that you can feel sexy in your own skin. I have been healthy for the last decade without trying very hard. I am not an intense exerciser, but I've been able to maintain a very healthy weight, and my skin does glow. People tell me all of the time that I look younger than my age, and it feels so good to receive those compliments because I know that I've done the work and I deserve to hear it. I deserve to be recognized for that. And it feels good to hear other people tell me that they see that in me. And it's because of the healing work that I've done. I didn't look like that with a cigarette hanging out of my mouth and a drink in my hand at 6 o'clock in the morning coming out of whatever nasty club. Trust me, I did not look that great. You'll also set the example of good health for your family so that your kids grow up to take good care of themselves. When you realize how powerful and simple it is to build these habits once you have the right skills, you can't help but share that with others. You will be the start of a ripple effect that will have a positive influence on the lives and health of everybody that's around you. When something's good, it's good, and you know it, and you want to tell other people. Last but not least, you will preserve your good health so that you can avoid getting trapped in the destructive American healthcare system. And if you don't appreciate the value in that, there's a new story about someone just like you who lost everything they own to medical bills in the news every day. It is a shame how people go bankrupt due to completely preventable conditions. It happens all the time, and it's completely preventable. So all of these amazing benefits, and it's really fun to do. The platform that I use is called Vimify, and there are so many cool features. You can invite your friends and family and coworkers. You can chat with each other and give each other support in the app. It gives you a full list of all of your tasks and habits every day, so you never ever have to guess about what you have to do. It's always right there for you. I'm in there. You can get support from me in the app. I'm sending messages. I'm commenting on posts. And you can also see how you compare to others. If that's your jam, you can run this challenge with your besties, your Bible study group, as many times as you want. You can make it a competition if you really want to. Whatever blows your skirt up. And you can do that over and over and over, and all you have to do is increase the level of difficulty that you assign to each lesson. And I'll show you how to do that. So this really cool app gives us so much that we can do. It gives us a safe space to practice new habits. You will never be judged. You will always be guided and supportive. You can start over as many times as you need to. until you get it. There's no end to the art of personal science. In science, there's always another question, another curiosity, another level, and we're exploring all of that in the art of personal science. You get a clear list of tasks every day, daily reminders to complete key actions that will send push notifications to your cell phone or send you emails. There's a bunch of downloadable PDF worksheets for you to complete each exercise that's assigned to you. The integrated point system to run challenges with your friends. You can have access on all of your devices, Apple and Android, or you can just hit it on the web if you prefer. I've created Art of Personal Science resource library. There's hundreds of handouts in there on almost everything that you can think of related to health. Those are there for you to download and use and share with your friends and family as much as you need to. And you get lifetime access to the whole kit and caboodle. It will never be revoked or taken from you. And just to clarify, there are no additional costs related to the Art of Personal Science. By now, I know you must be over the moon excited to give it a shot. But let me stop you right there, because the Art of Personal Science is not for everyone. And the last thing that I ever want anybody to do is to get there when it's not the right place for them and waste any of their or mine time and money. So the Art of Personal Science is not for you if you already think you know everything or are uncoachable. I'm here to tell you that your brain is completely elastic. You can change your habits at any stage of life. You may not be able to teach an old dog new tricks, but humans can grow and live and get better until the day we die. If you're joining the Art of Personal Science, there's an inherent underlying principle that there is always another question. There is always another layer. There's always another level to go. We're looking for growth here and people who are ready to be guided. TAPS is not for you if you love your current situation and think you are better off where you are. Thank you very much. TAPS is not for you if you don't think it's important to set a good example for your family or teach them that health is priceless and fragile, or if you think that the school system will or should do that for you. Because if you don't think that is important, I'm not here to convince you otherwise. Just know that your child will learn how to take care of themselves, either good or bad, whether that information and example comes from you or not. Someone will teach them. And if you allow them to passively learn those lessons, Lord knows what they're going to pick up. Actually, we do know what they're going to pick up. And it's all of the messages that they get from the food advertisements that they see constantly. It is a well-worn tactic of food producers to market fortified and otherwise unhealthy foods that are known to cause chronic disease in adults to children because they are susceptible and because they know that a lot of parents aren't paying attention or are too busy to do anything about it. So if you haven't thought about that before, maybe now is the time. The Art of Personal Science is not for you if you are looking for diet advice or meal plans. None of that is in the Art of Personal Science. Everything that I have to offer right now on that topic is all on my blog. The Art of Personal Science is not for you if you have excellent healthcare coverage or aren't the least bit concerned about the financial burdens of the most common, very expensive, and completely preventable diseases. But if you don't have excellent health care, you should be concerned about the financial burdens of the most common, very expensive, and completely preventable diseases because they ruin people's lives every day. The Art of Personal Science is not for you if you have been diagnosed with a condition and are focused on treatment. This is for generally healthy people who are focused on prevention. But if none of that applies to you, if you're open to receiving new wisdom, if you're coachable, if you want to make a change, if you're ready to make a change, if you know it's important to set a good for your example for your family and you want to teach them that health is priceless and fragile, if you are concerned about the financial burdens of the most common, expensive, and completely preventable diseases, trust that the art of personal science works. The art of personal science works even if you're starting from scratch, even if you've tried everything else, even if you don't feel ready to change right this second, even if a little part of you doesn't want it to work, even if you don't give up beer or ice cream, even if you've already donated your skinny jeans, even if you feel guilty for putting your oxygen mask on first, even if you have no extra cash for a fancy meal plan. The art of personal science works even if your agenda is already full, even if you're already rushing everywhere, all day, every day. Even if you can't shut your mind off for just a minute to relax. Even if you can't walk around the block. Even if you have to enroll by yourself. Even if you have a couple bad days. Even if you feel like your current situation is totally your fault. Even if you forgot what good feels like. Even if you feel like shit most of the time. Imagine not having to go from website to website, fanatic guru to fanatic guru, one Google search after another, looking for the next trendy piece of advice that is going to change your health. How would it feel to have all that time back and be empowered with the confidence to trust your own experience and make your own decisions? Let me show you how to manage the most difficult challenges of healthy living with a few clever skills that make the most high-impact habits naturally strengthen over time. I can change the way you think and feel about meeting your own special and unique needs forever. Hopefully you've never been as low as I have, but I have been to both ends of the health spectrum, and I know the way to the side where there's health and vitality and sexiness and energy and joy. I can show you the way there. It's all at the Art of Personal Science. For the last time, my name is Tiffany Ann Smith. My website is www.tiffanyannSmith.com. You can email me anytime at tiff@tiffanyannSmith.com. I'm on all social networks as Art of Person. The link for the Art of Personal Science Challenge is just below this video, along with a link to all of the references and resources that I used to create this presentation. I'll say goodbye for now, but hopefully not for long. Take good care of yourselves, and God bless.